Alright, so first we want to start off by moisturizing the face. Anytime you have breakouts and stuff, you always want to make sure your face is nice and hydrated. So I'm going to start off with this Burt's Bees Brightening Face Cream. I've been using this on a daily. This is my favorite facial cream as of right now. And I'm just going to do like one small pump in my hand, and I'm just going to go in moisturizing. I'm just going to be putting this everywhere over the face. Then I like to focus a lot of the product right under my eyes because I do fear that I get a little bit of darkness under here, so I want to make sure that is covered with the brightening cream. Alright, now that we're looking nice and hydrated, I'm going to be using the Palmer's Skin Facial Oil. This has been my favorite oil to use on the face. It does not add any oiliness to like my skin, make me any extra oily is what I'm trying to say. I'm focusing a lot of it right here as well. Sometimes I like to take it down my neck just a little bit too. So with this almost being sort of like a no makeup look, I'm gonna try and use as little product as I possibly can, even down to the eyebrows. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my brows really lightly just to get them out of the way. Okay, brows are out the way, so while I'm here, I'm just gonna go ahead and do my little eyebrow trick and add some glue to my brows just to set them. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in so y'all can see the real breaking out going on over here, and then we're gonna get started. So as you can already tell, you can already see the darkness going on. That's the problem area. That's what I'm gonna conceal, with the exception of a couple other dark marks. So we're just gonna cover all of them. And this is a tutorial, literally just for someone who has some breakouts, who wants to conceal them but use as little product as possible. So we're not gonna do too much. First, I'm gonna start off with just a color corrector. This is very optional if you want to use a color corrector like the greens and the blues and all that stuff. Like if you wanna use that, you can. But if you just go in with like a heavier concealer, that like a more full coverage concealer, that'll work as well. But for the sake of color correcting, this is what I'm gonna use. But I'm gonna use very little product. So with this green, the green is a color corrector for redness. Now of course, since I have this blemish and this mark and scabbature or whatever, it's nice and red, nice and pink. So I want to get rid of that. So like I said, I want to use very little product as possible. So I'm just going to take this tiny little brush and I'm just going to lightly tap over that. I don't need too much product because the blemish is not even that big. So I'm just going to tap over it just a little bit. That's just gonna get rid of the redness. You can take your full coverage concealer, which I'm gonna be using the Tarte Shape Tape, and I'm in the color Tan Sand. Now, of course, this is not like my actual skin complexion concealer. This is more of a highlighting concealer. I'm gonna place that right over top of the green. With this is going to cancel out the green and make sure that does not poke through. So I'm just gonna go through the rest of the face and just kind of conceal anything else that I really want to be covered. Now with this, since this being the problem area, I'm just gonna take my finger and do like a light blend just to press it into the skin. So what I'm gonna try and do is use the tiniest amount of this foundation, like barely a dot, just a little bit, and make sure it blends into my skin. And anytime you're doing this, you always want to blend out the edges of the foundation or the concealer just so it won't be like a blotch of product right here. I try to avoid tapping over top of the actual blemish part because I feel like the more you touch it, the more product you're removing. Okay, now to make sure everything sets in place, I'm just gonna take some translucent powder, ever so lightly, apply a light layer. And now what I like to do is take some facial spray, and that's just gonna kind of help all the powders and stuff kind of seep into the skin. And as you can tell, I did it really close to the skin. Next, what I want to do, just to kind of finish off the face and just kind of bring back some life, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the face using this liquid strobing cream from Maybelline. And this one is in 300 Deep Golden. And I like to add a little bit to the top part of my cheekbone, just this part up here. I'm gonna add a little bit to my nose, just as I would usually do with like a powdered highlight over foundation and all that stuff. This is just gonna help me get a glow to the skin without all the extra stuff. And I'm just gonna use a little bit of this concealer from the L'Oreal palette, and I'm gonna place that underneath my eye area. And I'm using the darkest color in the palette. I'm gonna start off with a little product and then blend it because, like I said, less is better. If you just start off with less product and then just build your way up, then you can see how much you would actually really need. Of course, just like with anything else, I'm gonna set the concealer under here with some more translucent powder, just a tiny amount. And as you can already tell, it just kind of opens up the eyes, you know what I'm saying? So you can see I already have them. I'm just gonna make them more visible. tapping over it with my finger just to make them look a little bit more realistic. Something else that'll also help is adding a little bit of translucent powder over them. So I'm gonna do that. All right, now this part is completely optional. I'm just going to add a little bit of color to the face just by adding a little bit of bronzer. So I'm using this feathered brush. This is a number 93 brush from Sephora, and this is just gonna add like a light feathered layer, and I'm gonna focus it onto my cheeks just to kind of give my face some warmth. Now, of course, you can always go in and add your mascara. You can always do that, so I'll do a little bit of that. Now, the thing about this though, guys, like the way I concealed the blemish is exactly how I would do it if I was adding a full face full of makeup. So if you wanna go ahead and add your full face, you can go ahead and do that. But just because it's the sake of saving makeup and because it's late and I want to show you guys this, I'm not gonna do a full face. And then one last thing, just because I like to do this, you don't have to, I'm gonna add a little bit of the honey pot to the inner corner of my eye. I love having an inner corner highlight. That's just my thing. Then of course you can do your lip color, which I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna just add a little bit of oil to my lips just to make them nice and glossy, and that's it. So this is my go-to no makeup look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. So as always, if you're new, I'm Jay, and if you're not new, I just thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not already, and of course, God willing, I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.